morning.
Good morning, everyone. We have with us Mr. Deepak Jolly. He is the Vice President of Public Affairs and Communications in Coca-Cola India. So I'll give a brief introduction of him. As we all know, that he specializes in corporate communications, public policies, consumer response. So these are his core areas of interest. Apart from that, he has also been spearheading quite a lot of successful strategic stakeholder engagement programs. He has been an integral part of many sustained and effective sustainability programs, which have been very instrumental in the development of Coca-Cola in India. He has also been awarded the Communicator of the Year by the Annual Achievers Award in 2006. So, sir, we invite you to take the podium and have an interaction with the students.
Thank you. How much time do you have? 30 minutes. Oh. And question and answers are after that? Okay.
10 minutes.
You get?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's there, right? Okay. So, I was climbing up the staircase and was panting because it was a bit of a height. And suddenly I saw the Coke signage outside. So guess what? I had a lot of happiness. But then when I looked at the table, I saw some other brand. And the happiness has disappeared. So guys, let me just ask you a few questions because let me warm you up because all of you seem to be in a very active mood. Morning time is the best time. So how many of you have seen the Coke India-Pakistan video on the YouTube? Wow, quite a few. So what is your view on that? Any comments? Yeah, anybody who wants to get up and say, what did you feel about it? Yeah.
It connects people beyond borders. It connects people beyond borders. In a person
People connecting beyond borders.
Yeah.
Right?
From a person to person point of view, without politics, without any language or any difference.
So was it a good thing for the brand to do or a bad thing for the
It's
brand?
a very good thing.
Yeah?
It was very good.
You like it?
Yeah.
Came from the heart.
Yeah.
Do you all agree? You are the ones who saw it? Okay. Now the making of that film was a complete public affairs strategy. That's what I want to say. It was not, when the brand manager said, international brand manager, we want to do it between India and Pakistan. And she was an American. The agency was American. I said, well, show me the script. No, we'll first do the experiment. We'll do some live shoots, then see how it comes, and then we'll do the script. So most of you do not know that behind the scenes, I had to ensure that the timing was right. Now, had I shown that film when the Indian soldier was beheaded, how the reaction would have been on YouTube? Not too good, right? And that's what we call integrating the public affairs part or the social license part as a part of your, when you do the brand management. And that is where a lot of brand managers tend to fail because they're so obsessed with what they are doing right that they are not taking an overall stakeholder engagement. And I was just telling Palomi when we were coming up that today's brand, you used to tell the brand what the brand values were, what the brand could do to impact you. All was from your head. Today's world, you do it from the heart. And that's the difference. That's the difference which in today's scenario it has changed. Yes, use your mind, but use your head as well. And apply it, and the timing is the right thing. If you don't do it the right time, a good campaign can just go bust. Right? So, then let me ask you another question. How many of you know that, okay, so what is the second most used word in the world? Wonderful. Okay, so I begin. What is in today's context, for every brand guy, the most important thing to do, which is the social license. Can anybody define what is social license? Anybody? Any attempts? None? You have a license to do business, right? But you need a social license to do the business. And when you talk about social license, companies used to have consumers as the largest chunk of stakeholders. The other groups were the shareholders. But in today's context, the world is changing from shareholder to stakeholder. And that's my presentation about. And that will answer many of your questions of what is happening. Now let's look at what Jack Welch said on sole purpose of business is to generate profit for shareholders. So what did Milton Friedman, everybody, all of you read so many books. I'm not a MBA graduate, but I used to keep reading Milton Friedman all the while. You must have read it. So do you agree with these three statements? Huh? Sorry? Right. Changed. The business of the business is the passe. Right? Do you agree or not?
Yes.
So let's define what is stakeholder value. Now, these are our stakeholders. Right? You have a pointer? Huh? Okay, no problem. Everybody can read from far? What is here? So, the government, associates, employees, consumers, suppliers, distributors, community, wherever your bottling plant is, or your factory is, trade associations, and what? NGOs. What are NGOs? Okay. So what is the big NGO in Shillong? Huh? There are a lot of NGOs, there are a lot of pressure groups. Huh? There must be a lot of NGOs in Shillong.
Yes, sir. There are.
Huh? There are?
Yes, sir.
So I don't see many people from Shillong here then. How many of you are from Shillong? Ooh. Okay, that answers my question. I'll come to that later. So how does business manage shareholders and stakeholders? Have you heard about the Dow Sustainability Index? So if the company is not faring well on that, what happens? The share price falls, right? And why do they do that? Who conducts the Dow Jones Sustainability Index? That is the new realm of things which is happening. That if you're doing the business, are you doing it responsibly enough to address all the stakeholders or not? Or are you only addressing the shareholder? So yesterday's Shillong Times, came up with a film which is to be shown on mining in Meghalaya. Did you see that? Did you read that news? I just accidentally picked up the newspaper. And some NGO from Meghalaya had talked to a filmmaker, and the filmmaker had now made a film which is going to be released globally. And that's a concern. if you're extracting limestone or coal or something, are you doing it responsibly or not? So why is today the entire mining industry under cloud? What are they doing? Huh? Illegal. Okay. What else?
Because most of the mines are in people where areas where tribal people live and protection of tribal people.
Right.
It becomes a vital.
So it's been the issue of rights, right? So that's all about responsible business. That if you are mining, are you mining more than what you are required? You know, even the licensed miners in Goa have stopped because the court intervened. So in 21st century, it is contrasting demands and the genius of and. Huh? You know, every company has to live by the values. If the values of that company, Mr. ABC, were X, then you better live by them. And that's something which is so critical. And in Coca, I will tell you what the values we live by. And I was telling Podium on the way, we are all governed by Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. That means under Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, the Securities and Exchange Commission of US can scrutinize me on my behavior as an employee in other parts of the world as well. What does that mean? That means that I cannot apply pressure to have an undue decision in my favor. So I work by not only by the law of land, but go by the spirit of the law of land and look at every opportunity which can help in collaborating and moving forward. And also that means that I do not entertain the government officers the way many of the Indian companies may want to do or may do. So even if I want to do, then I need to take my legal and ethics officer's permission. And that ties us as a part of the American companies. So let's come back to the brand for a minute and talk about balancing contrasting demands. Have you heard of Joe Tripodi? How many of you have heard of Joe Tripodi? Joe Tripodi is the marketing director of the Coca-Cola company. That man has the beautiful art of communicating, of the and. So he says the genius of and finding a balance between them. Very simple. Soaring growth is one side. Huh? So huge population increase on the world, companies wanting to do extremely well, miners wanting to mine more, production, more water, more food, and the other and is right. So for global companies, be global and offer choice and be simple. Elementary, my dear Watson. Be modern and be traditional. There's another favorite photograph of mine where I was telling Palomidi, the beauty about visiting India is that whenever I go, I'm a salesman at heart. I headed the key accounts of sales for Hindustan Lever for 3 years. And everywhere I look at the art of possibility. And when I come back to the marketing manager and said, okay, I saw a jugaad. You know what is a jugaad?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
So a jugaad is a kind of a tractor converted into multi-purpose carry vehicle.
Generator.
And we used it very commonly in our transportation of goods in Rajasthan, in hinterlands of Madhya Pradesh. So, again, be timeless, and of course the relevance. And I'll tell you the story of Aishwarya Rai. So, what is this one? I love this the most. Be inspirational and be right. You know, I pulled out the slides of the man who presented at Cannes. So you're getting to see some of the slides of what was shown at Cannes. And by the way, at Cannes, the India-Pakistan film won 2 golds. So how do you like the ant? Very simple, huh? I mean, and how we make things so complicated. Actually, everything is so simple. And yes, consumers' expectations are changing. There are a lot more people, a lot more faces, a lot more who want to have a stake in the organization. Awareness and consciousness amongst people as well as the organizations has also grown. Do you agree with that or not? You agree, right? So, what do we do for changing expectations? So, we have the 4 quadrants: products, environment, workplace, and community, right? Now, let's start with reshaping of the consumer behavior. You know, I read a lot of news about health and healthy products. And when I meet these reporters, I ask them, what do you mean by healthy? Is Coke unhealthy? They say, no, you know, actually Coke is not a healthy product, juice is a healthy product. I said, how? Tell me. Tell me one good reason why I should drink a Maaza, which is juice, which has got 180 calories, and Coke 200 ml, which is only 88 calories. So sometimes, you know, you get a feeling that, you know, by eating mango, you are eating less sugar. Some simple logic, you know, I'm just saying. So basically, Palomi also asked me the question on calories, you know. And, well, I'm not the best example to talk about calories, but even though my wife would like to talk about it. But what is interesting is that we marketeers have to reshape the consumer behavior. Now, when we talk about vitamin water is something which has been, wow, you know, it's so classy to have drinking a vitamin water versus another drink, right? I mean, yesterday I went to Chirapuji, and right at the edge of that place, I saw boys and girls drinking Red Bull. Do you know how much a can of Red Bull costs? It's 85 bucks. You know how much profit these guys earn on it? Huge, huge profit. So it's a cult in terms of, if you look at that, what they've created is energy drinks. What is it? It is nothing but more caffeine, right? And you can stay awake, right? Because more caffeine, the more is your, yeah. So Coke also has caffeine, but we have 144 count. They have about 250 plus count. So we've also got an energy drink called the Bud. So reshaping consumer behavior, that's one part. Workplace, healthy, safe, and respecting international labor standards. Environment, caring about the environment as much as you have care about your customers and consumers. And community, of course, the and of sustainability. So now let's come on the Coca-Cola way of doing business. So, you know, every company today talks about, and you may have heard in the last few days, about the 2020. It's become more of a cliche now. But 2020, why 2020? Because when we were planning in 2010, we said, let's plan for 20 years, for 10 years ahead, and how the world will look like. I wish I had that video because that video is like completely, transcends you into optimism, and at the same time shakes you up with the growing numbers and sustainability footprint. So imagine if I had made a video for 2050, that video would shake you even more, because our life expectancy is increasing. And what is my job is to create value and make a difference. So let's talk about the core values. So, you will say that about core values, what is so different about these? Because many of the values which are mentioned is something with most of the companies you would have seen would already be, they would have communicated about it. Is that right or not? Passion. So do I look passionate about my company or my job?
Yes.
Accountability. I can have a full day Q&A and I can be very transparent to you about what I do, how I do it, and why I do it. Diversity. Globally, we recognize that we are a multilingual, multiracial company. So today, who is my chairman of the company? Guess what? Who's the chairman? Anybody? Mukhtar Kent. Which nationality is he? Turkish. Huh? Who are my number twos? There's Ahmed Bozar, who's the president of the company. And then there is Ariel Finan. Ariel is Irish. And Ahmed is again, from Turkey. So what I'm trying to say is that diversity is a part of, and of course, women, globally, women talent is something which Coca-Cola company has said that by 2020, they would look more and more women in the senior leadership positions. And today we have almost 3 business unit presidents across the world who are great women leaders. Quality. Anything which we do, ultimately which will reach the consumer, has to have quality, right up to the execution. Collaboration. That's something which I do in my job day in and day out. I'm collaborating with the governments. I'm collaborating with stakeholders. I'm collaborating with various bottlers. And that's something which is a part and parcel of the job. Integrity. Believe me, lots of companies have gone on this word integrity, they failed. You heard of Enron, right? Huh? All of you heard of Enron? Yes. Arthur Anderson? Yes. What fate they met. So the point is, and it's a very simple way I used to tell people how you can learn it. And a new recruit would be hired, and I say, even if you learn 5 of the values, you will stay in the company for long. And a simple way was ICLAP, that is integrity, collaboration, accountability, leadership, passion. So this is the way I'm just talking about, so the chairman of the company always talks about sustainable businesses will thrive only when the communities are sustainable. Well, we learned it the hard way, but believe me, there's no going back on that. And we've changed the face of the company globally, and it's in our attempt to keep living those values time and again. So, how does the framework communicate? It is the sustainability framework is personal well-being, community, society well-being, and environmental well-being. And now when we look at those 4 pillars here, we talk about healthy active living, nutrition, responsible marketing, and beverage benefits. That means, what does responsible marketing mean? Anybody want to take it? What does responsible marketing mean? all 8 food companies in India, I'm talking about the large ones, have taken a pledge that we will not market to children directly. Very tall order. Children below the ages of 12 years. That means we will not be there in children's channels. If it's a sports channel, because so our advertising will be as much as reflective of the total contribution, would not be more than 35%. We have gone a step ahead. We're not there in primary schools. We've pulled out of primary schools. Nutrition. Today, we may be the world's company called the Coca-Cola company, and we make the largest brand as Coca-Cola. But did you know which is the largest juice brand in the world? Anybody? Any guesses? Sorry. Minute Maid. Look at the Minute Maid volumes. It is the largest brand in the world, owned by the Coca-Cola company. Right? Which is we are the largest juice company in the world. In China, we sell, the pulpy orange in India? Yes. We sell almost 45 times more than the India volumes in China. Great hit. It's a super hit. We sell more than brand Coke and brand Pepsi put together in India. We sell more Minute Maid in China. We've got a green tea in China called Shinzei. And Shinzei today is one of the leading products in green tea in China. Green tea is a very popular drink in China. Yeah. So as a part of nutrition, we are there, because we are world's largest juice company. We are world's largest bottled coffee company. You heard of Illy? Illy is a coffee company, Italian. It's a part of our group now. You heard of Honest Tea? Honest Tea. This is a tea company in the US. We recently acquired it. There's a vitamin water, Lasho. That's a part of our portfolio. So these are something which you will see as and when the Indian market matures. We talk about women's empowerment. 5 million women will be empowered by the company in distribution by the end of 2020. As we distribute, the number of people involved in our numbers for distribution grow. And the latest survey shows that we are almost 300,000 people in India involved in our distribution of our products. And whatever we do, no child labor will be allowed in the supply chain, come what may. We will have a zero water balance. We will be ensuring that all the packaging which we produce is recyclable. And whatever we buy, whether we buy mangoes or sugar, have to be from sustainable agriculture. So we talked about responsible marketing. We talked about workplace rights, strengthening climate change. Again, whatever we are going to do on climate, extremely important, because we grow the business but not the carbon. And our basic philosophy, I talked about that we work on collaboration and golden triangle. So this is golden triangle. Business, government and civil society. Now you must be wondering, how does that happen? I brought some books which you can keep for distribution, very few copies. But if you write to me, I can email you how business, government and civil society can collaborate. Now whether it is my product called Vitingo, which is a vitamin powder, or it is on water, or it is on women empowerment. There are various programs I run on, or it is for retailer training program. I'm running with all three of them put together. So let's look at living our values with the stakeholders, government, employees, suppliers. I had talked about supply guiding principles. Community, we do lots of projects on water, sports, women empowerment, training, climate protection. Trade associations I talked about. In fact, I'm the creator of Indian Beverage Association. And today, that organization is helping the beverage industry, non-alcoholic beverage industry to grow. NGOs, partner of community initiatives, employees, workplace rights, government, partner on sustainability initiatives. Before I came to you, I visited Assam. And, it's very difficult to plan. Follow me, I promised about 6 months back that I'll come. But, so I had a big program which I run. It's called Support My School. Have you heard about it? Yes. So Support My School is again a Golden Triangle program where I run with NDTV, run with the government schools and implemented by NGOs like CAF, World Vision. So World Vision had completed 8 schools, so they wanted to show me one. So I called the Minister of Social Welfare, and guess how much time he spent there? 2 hours at a remote village back or beyond of Guwahati. It's almost 2 hours drive from Guwahati city. And believe me, that place doesn't have electricity. But we revamped the electricity, we revamped the whole school in terms of water, in terms of drinking water, sanitation, etc. So net, we create value for our stakeholders. Has she sent you the videos? Huh? Not there?
Sir, I did not get you.
The videos are there?
No, sir, the videos were not sent. Only the PPT was sent.
Oh, you have time to show? No.
Yes, sir, we can show it.
Okay. Let me see if I'm carrying it, but so I'll try to show the videos. But net, what is my in terms of what our chairman says? The most essential shared norm for the new reality is the critical need of the business, government, civil society, and what he calls as the Golden Triangle, to come together to solve world's most pressing challenges. The future is shaped by the actions we take today. Thank you. Unfortunately, the videos are not there, but I'm ready for the Q&As. I think I thought the videos had come.
Sir, we do not have the videos with us yet. We can probably have them after the conclave.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just see if it is there in the stick. Okay. So questions. This is the most important part of my exercise. Did you understand the new norm of the business, or you think you will agree with the Milton Friedman? Huh? So questions, please. Feel free. Honest questions will have very honest responses.
So my name is Rahul.
Yes.
So my name is Rahul Goel. I'm a first year participant here. My question is regarding the zero water balance that you talked in your presentation. There are always allegations on Coca-Cola that they drain out groundwater from the natural resources.
Right.
So how you tackle those allegations, and what is zero water balance strategy that Coke is applying?
Fantastic. Very. So I think that that one video which is there, if you can show it, it will also help.
So we'll show it up.
We'll show it up. Okay. You see, when I joined the company way back in 2005, we had lots of allegations. I mean, I had to tell my placement company guy, I said, hey, where I landed, man? So, because there were allegations on water, on pesticide, on health, and business was not doing too well. And that's what I said, if you correct your social license, believe me, we had 26, 27 quarters of growth, which was unprecedented in any part of the world. But you need an honest commitment of what you want to do and how you want to do it. So I took my CEO onto the stage and we launched a campaign called Little Drops of Joy. Do you remember Little Drops of Joy? Any one of you? Now, Little Drops of Joy, must have seen only the advertising side of it. But behind that, I wrote this thick document. And that thick document contained that we will set a target of water replenishment. Because first, we will use water very responsibly. It's unfortunate that the water in India, for the industry, you have to take groundwater in almost 70% of the areas. Because the groundwater, the surface water, the industrial area, the government is not able to give you. So first, we will always target surface water. If we don't, then we go for groundwater. So how do we ensure that the groundwater which we are taking is given back to the community? So we called a replenishment strategy, in which we work, we've got a 35-acre bottling plant. We will have a rainwater harvesting structure. So all the water which is there, it comes into a well, which filters and takes it to the ground. The rooftop harvesting, what we call a typical way of harvesting the water. But that accounts only 10 to 15% of the water consumed. What about the 90% of the water consumed? So you will have to go out to the community. So how do you go out to the community? So you will do water projects, which will be done with the community. You will fund them, but it cannot be gratis, because you are doing it for the community, for their benefit. So it will be under what we call PPP, Public-Private People Partnership. An example of that is drip irrigation project in Rajasthan. So I'm not a farmer, or I'm not a seeds company, but I taught the farmers how to do drip irrigation, because that led to 80% of reduction of water. Today, my one demo farm helped almost close to 632 farmers to adopt that scheme for 3 crops in a rotation for half a hectare at least. A hectare is almost equal to 2 acres plus. Yeah, just take a measurement of that. So moti, the point was, if you take the amount of water saved, is called, and again, when I report it, I'll report it in a sustainability report. So I've got a copy, let me just show, just take out So this is called the sustainability report. I brought 2011. So PricewaterhouseCoopers is bringing out, so I have about 5 copies. So any of you want to study it, and again here are water balance numbers which have been vetted by a third party and now audited, are there in this copy as well. So SGS is now if at the end of this report, you will find global reporting indicators and mapping. So this is a global way of indexing the report, where you say your strategy of the company. Is it there in the part of the sustainability report? Is your profile there? Again, another important thing in the sustainability report is governance, commitments, engagement, economic, environmental. So it says, in case of water, it says EN8, total water withdrawal by source, description and response, replenish water, extent of reporting, full reporting. So there's a full reporting, full annexure for the stakeholders. So that is the deep investment on reporting, on auditing, on creating mechanism of water replenishment, an ongoing process. So that was the way we made a commitment and ensured that we completed that. I hope that satisfies the answer. Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
My name is Ayushi. So I have 2 questions. The first being, in one of the slides you mentioned Aishwarya Rai and the concept of relevance, and you said you would elaborate on the same. And the second, I saw a recent campaign done by Coca-Cola with Skyfall, where the whole concept of experiential marketing, below the line activities was done, where people at the stations were required to go to the Coke vending machines and recreate the whole concept of the bond scenario and reach another station through obstacles and take out another Coke from another vending machine, and they got exclusive tickets. So if something like that is replicated in the Indian context, what are the kind of difficulties that you would face on the ground level?
Good question, very good question, because we've been doing it. It's not that we have not done it. I don't know whether you know about Thumbs Up. Thumbs Up is our largest selling brand. I didn't talk about brands today, guys, because brands you guys study and you know everything about the brands. So Thumbs Up is our largest cola brand. And what is the core concept we talk about Thumbs Up? Macho. Machoism, right? So, so we used to, when Akshay was doing several exercises, we always used to talk about caution. But we did a lot of experiential to different cities when we were doing in Indore and the similar experiential which was being done there, a space station, etc. So that was a part of our experiential which we did for Thumbs Up as well. So that, because that was something which I thought will answer your question. Talking about relevance, what it's, on the right it showed Aishwarya, on the left what did it show? Huh? Right. So when we talked about relevance, we talked about, Aishwarya, I've known her for last so many years. And recently somebody posted a Facebook photo of her college. She studied in Aryavidya Mandir also, in Bombay. And Aishwarya became the Miss World. Now, when I worked with Pepsi for about 8 years, way back in the 90s, so we put a first Aishwarya and Amir Khan Pepsi ad. Do you remember that ad? Yes. Huh? So when you see that ad, you see Aishwarya Rai and another girl walking and asking Amir for, do you have another Coke, right? Who was that other girl? Mahima. Most of the people have forgotten that Mahima Chaudhary was a part of that ad. So because Aishwarya, soon after that, went for Miss World. She got the Miss World and she came back and we celebrated her success. And then, of course, when I was in brand, when I joined Coke after the 4-year stint with Airtel, I met Aishwarya recently at a NDTV Support My School program where she was a part of our campaign on 3rd of February. The fact is that, when we were comparing, relevance, we were talking about how Aishwarya's communication strategy or what was relevant through what we were talking through her as brands became relevant to the audience. That's what I was referring to. Any more questions, please?
So, can we take the questions after conflict?
Last question.
Okay.
Last question, please. Yes.
Good morning, sir. Raman. Today, probably we know Coca-Cola is one of the best brands that positions itself and its distribution system is one of the very finest. So my question basically is, do you really wait for the consumer behavior to change to bring about innovation in your positioning and distribution strategy, or do you keep on innovating at regular intervals? So how does your modus operandi proceed like? So I want to know about that.
You see, in every country we have hundreds of products in the pipeline. So I can't give you all my products in the pipeline because I can't unveil my strategy. But the fact is, I'm doing a Rim Jim Masala, which I'm trying at a particular place. Rim Jim is a good digestive drink. Again, I have to look at, now, the moment I did Rim Jim Masala, I saw the other day in the flight, Paper Boat. You've seen Paper Boat? Yes. So, that guy, incidentally, is an ex-Coke brand manager. The MTV CEO is the ex-Coke brand manager. So I'm just talking about that, before we were just discussing, we're a large company. So, unless and until that test does not pass through a distribution cycle, we won't launch it. So we have a consumer tasting panel, which we keep meeting every month. And there is a B-Cube survey, which talks about what consumers are thinking. So we get a monthly update, qualitative and quantitative, where what are the consumers thinking. So 500 consumers are on the panel, and we keep working with those consumer panels and developing our strategy, because Coke has decided that, guys, we will only be in NARTD, non-alcoholic ready-to-drink beverages, period. And our mainstay, unlike many other companies, will be brand Coke. We will continue to be relevant, but we will also continue to push brand Coke across the world, whether it's a Diet Coke or a Coke Zero, but it will be brand Coke franchise will lead. And even in Q2, where we had only 1% growth, do you know how much brand Coke grew? 18%. So that's the kind of relevance for us is the brand Coke. We can answer more questions, I think, later on, because a number of other speakers are there. Thank you, guys. It was great to have you.
We'd like to thank you, sir, for giving us an insight into how Coke does his business, and I'm sure everyone enjoyed it a lot. And thank you so much, sir, for coming.
Thank you.